The shocking truth on the Vancouver Canucks' future has been revealed as general manager Patrik Allvin reveals massive changes coming to the Vancouver Canucks after failing to make the postseason. With key players set to hit the open market, we're going to see major changes to this roster heading into next season. We're going to break down Patrik Allvin's comments, the massive changes coming, and much more, which you're not going to want to miss out on. But before we get into that, if you're not subscribed yet, we're trying to get to 7,000 subscribers before the end of the season. So make sure to go down, hit that subscribe button. It's completely free, and we'll keep you up to date on everything to do with the Vancouver Canucks that you're not going to want to miss out on. Well, with that, we get off straight into the first topic today. After an interview with Sportsnet, Patrik Allvin revealed a lot about the Vancouver Canucks, and we can see from the first quote from Patrik Allvin, we have some really good building blocks here with the young players in the pipeline. I'm pleased with our goalie situation, and I'm pleased with our back end. Our focus here is to see if we can improve our forward group by either trades or free agents. Now, looking at this quote from Patrik Allvin, we know he's going to make major changes to a team that failed to make the postseason. Looking at this defensive core and goaltending situation before we touch on the forwards, we can see that Patrik Allvin is very content with what he has on the back end. Looking at key players, Quinn Hughes, the best defenseman in the National Hockey League, Filip Hronek, Elias Pettersson, Tyler Myers, Victor Mancini, DPD, and Tom Willender joining this team once he concludes the season. This is a young, mobile, minus Tyler Myers, a young, mobile defensive core that you can build your future around. Looking at next season with the Vancouver Canucks, the right side is loaded with Tom Willender and Victor Mancini probably fighting for minutes to make it into this lineup. We know that right now Tom Willender has not signed, but with Puckpedia, I did add him in. DPD is set to play on this third line, looking like an absolute gem and a steal. In the third round for this Vancouver Canucks team, you have a young, mobile team that is poised to have a bounce-back season with, once again, the best defenseman in the National Hockey League on the top pairing. Now, looking at this, listen, I understand Tyler Myers is getting up in age, but you have your top four locked up, your bottom two are locked up, and an extra defenseman in Tom Willender, depending on his progress. This is not even touching on Thatcher Demko or Kevin Lankin with Artur Shilovs as the third string goaltender. This Canucks team, and looking at this on paper, this is a Stanley Cup champion team. You might want to add pieces throughout the season, but right now we know the Vancouver Canucks have been pretty darn good at playing defense this season. I know a lot of people want to blame the offense on the forwards, maybe on the defensemen, and listen, the defensemen at the start of the year weren't the best, but this is a team that has been rock solid on the defensive end for majority of the season, even dealing with injuries. So we know this Canucks team can handle it with their goaltenders and the back end as long as they can stay healthy, and that's the key part of this. Now, looking at this, we also know that Patrik Allvin goes out to say the focus is to see if they can improve their forward group by either trades or free agency. Now, looking at the forwards, we know Brock Boeser just came out today. If you haven't seen that episode, go watch it that we posted just a couple hours ago, when Brock Boeser said, honestly, it's unlikely at this point when asked if he's returning to the Canucks. So looking at this team, they're going to have to go out and look for a new forward group or someone to replace Brock Boeser, as it does seem like he will hit the open market after the Canucks failed to trade him at this year's deadline. Looking at the forwards, we do have majority of the forwards locked up going into next season. The two key RFAs, Max Sasson and Aatu Räty. Looking at the UFAs, Brock Boeser, who seems like he's going to walk, coming from the quote himself saying, honestly, it's unlikely at this point, and it sucks, but this is the reality that Brock Boeser, the longest tenured Vancouver Canuck, is probably walking. Pius Suter, who has scored 20 plus goals, depending on when you're watching this, is going to probably outprice himself on this Vancouver Canucks team. So they do need to fill out something on this forward group. Looking at the forward group going into next season for the Vancouver Canucks, they need to add top end talent. Höglander, Petey, and Garland have been very good this year. Garland's been outstanding this year. Jake DeBrusk, a bit streaky, but still a 20-plus goal scorer and probably going to hit 30. Filip Hronek, if he returns from his concussion, can station on the second line. You see Jonathan Lekermecki set to take a huge jump in the middle six next season. Aatu Räty, who is an RFA I just tossed in with a $1 million contract, as they'll probably give him a small bridge deal with the Canucks team as well. But this is a team that lacks wingers in their top six that can truly score. I do think the Vancouver Canucks are going to be actively looking to add to this forward group. As I said, you have two key guys leaving as UFAs. You have a team that's set to play in the Stanley Cup playoffs next year if they can get this group poised and set to play again. But they do need to add forwards, and Patrik Allvin has made it very clear, either trade or free agency, this team is adding a new forward, and it would not shock me if they go out and make two big trades to add more talent. I mean, right now, going into next season, with Tom Willinger signed and Aatu Räty signed to a $1 million deal, it could be more, it could be less. This is a team that's projected to have $13 million in cap space. Roster count to 21 and 23. So once again, bouncing back to this Canucks team, I think the main priority is a second line center. If you can get a bargain bin winger or make a trade for a winger that you can acquire for a cheap price, and by cheap price, I mean a cheap cap hit, it would be beautiful to add a center and a winger to this Canucks team that's going to really need it if they want to make a run. I mean, looking at the $13 million, this is not a whole lot of room. A lot of this is going to OEL's almost $5 million against the cap on the buyout. Thank you, Jim Benning, for that one, of course. No one's happy. But looking at the Canucks team, if they go via trade, they do have all their draft capital heading into next season. By that, they have the Sharks third, which will be a high third-round pick, the Ottawa Senators fourth-round pick. But as you can see, minus a third-round pick in 2026 and a second-round pick in 2027, the Vancouver Canucks basically have all their draft capital. And I think this is where we're going to see Patrik Allvin go out to make moves to acquire more players. I mean, looking at another quote, I think the players have learned and probably understand that we've got to continue with preparation in order to be a good team to play 82 games plus the postseason. I think that's our goal. Now, this just shows the Vancouver Canucks are not happy with being a retooling team. We've seen Quinn Hughes and Jim Rutherford speak out on this as well, where it seems like Quinn Hughes will walk if this is not a contending team or a team that's going to be in the playoffs for the season to come. We've seen so many man games lost throughout the season. Right now, barely anyone has played 70-plus games. You have some outliers, and Kiefer Sherwood, who has been outstanding this year. Brock Boeser at 71. Connor Garland missed about 1 or 2 games. But overall, this team has missed so many games throughout the season, and it's so much to take in with this Canucks team that failed to make the postseason after being eliminated just last night, going into meaningless games where, well, I mean meaningful in the sense that Brock Boeser is probably gone, and these are the last stretch of games we'll see from him. I mean, Canucks fans, looking at the quotes from Patrik Allvin, what are your thoughts on this? What would you do with this team? Do you think they need to prioritize a top line or a second line center? Would you rather them go out and pick up a top line winger to replace Brock Boeser? Would you rather see a trade because maybe you can get retention? Or do you think the depth needs changing? There's so much going to happen this offseason. Going into next year, it's going to be hectic to be a Canucks fan. But listen, things have to get better. They're going to make the postseason next year. Well, at least I hope so. And this team is going to change quite a bit. And that's not just Brock Boeser leaving in for agency. But if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to go down and hit that subscribe button. As I said, we're so close to 7,000. If you're enjoying this content, like I said, it's completely free. We'll keep you up on date on this insane offseason that we're going to have to deal with. But that'd be it for this episode. If you enjoyed it, like I said, go down and leave a like. Share this with your friends. Let me know your favorite Canucks player. Let me know a player you would love the Canucks to go out and get. Let me know everything down in the comments. We love reading through it. But I've been your host, Mark Pine. Listen, this season sucked, but Canucks fans, stick in. It can only get better from here. Knock on wood. Take care.